And in it, I talk about what it was like filming. I don't want to spoil, the film was great when you saw it. To make the film was very, very difficult. For not just for me, certainly for George it was difficult, but I had my own physical issues and all that kind of thing, and I felt kind of alone, really. I mean, it was great working with Mark Hamill because he did actually manage to make you and me think that 3PO was real. But working, I was alone. R2-D2 didn't speak to me. All that sound was put in later. So I was doing 2 performances. I only got paid for 1. It was cruel. But then the film opened and it was a huge, huge success, as you know. And then I began to see articles saying, in a scene from Star Wars, Luke Skywalker, brackets, Mark Hamill, close brackets, with C-3PO. I wasn't there. I was never there. And it got to be really quite difficult because I had the biggest part in the movie. I had more lines than anyone else. And I didn't exist as a person. On set, I was willing to pretend to be 3PO, but I needed to live as me. And it took many years, for them to stop pretending that 3PO was real. When you see a thing, the actors are acting. They are, somebody who Ian isn't the Emperor, he's acting the Emperor, doing it very well. I was acting 3PO, but both of us exist as human beings, and they really denied my humanity, and that was wrong. And I said it very publicly now, in the book. What is the book called?
C-3PO, the inside story.
I suddenly couldn't remember the next bit. And now it's fine, but at the time it was a little hurtful, because around the world, it was Star Wars. And friends used to say, hey, it must be really good to be in Star Wars. I didn't want to talk about it, because it hurt. And then something changed. Well, we made episode 5, because I nearly didn't do it. And then I realized I was an actor, it was a job. I were in episode 3 between Ewan and Hayden. They used to get applause every time because they were like balletically athletic. And it was magic to watch it. I can get bored in laser fight, can't you? We've been there. Some of us has been there, once too often. Okay. Notice that I'm doing this without a safety net. I'm walking up and down stairs at my age without a safety net, and it's scary. Just as scary as people put all that foot in the way, because I'm coming here. Yeah, young man at the back wearing a lot.
So why does 3PO have a silver leg?
Oh God, you know the guy over there, don't you? I mean, why does he have a silver leg? Who can answer? Come on, very quickly. I'm on television, look. Hi, Mom. Why does 3PO have a silver leg?
He's cobbled together.
Who said that?
Me. He's cobbled together.
Me doesn't work. Stand up. Speak. Stay there, don't touch. Why does he have a silver leg?
Because he's cobbled together. He's part
Because he's cobbled together.
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's right.
Okay, you couldn't do that on stage, could you? Because it's cobbled together.
Yes.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yes. And
There's more. Yeah. No, speak to the camera. Speak to the camera.
what would I say?
What would you say? You started off with, I was cobbled
Oh, yeah.
together.
Well, simple enough. I mean, your parts. Your. A better question might be.
No, it's not. Where's the heart? I love this. What's your name?
Tim.
Do you know him? Yeah. See, 2 Tims. How different can they be? Question. Where's the heart of C-3PO? How do you come up with that?
Well, I love you.
Oh, back in the day, man. disturb you, but come to this side now. That was a lovely thing to say. Art and so on. The fact that he has approached other people's hearts over the years, that he has touched people in ways I didn't know until, I come to something like this and somebody will say how much 3PO has meant to them emotionally as an image, as a character, as a friend in the distance on the screen, as somebody they could relate to in difficult times and so on. But we'll come back to maybe more serious. What was the question before that? Because your answer, the silver leg, but I like your answer much better. We should go on stage together. Yeah. The silver leg. You are absolutely right. He was cobbled together. It's like, you have an old car that you can't get a new one, so you buy a fender from a repair shop or something like that. And of course, that was fine. Nobody really noticed. Until, of course, we come to episode 7, where, I see the script, and it says 3PO has a red arm. Why? Because he was cobbled together. He was cobbled together. It was to mimic the silver leg with a different limb, an arm, and a different colour. The trouble was, it was bright red and irrelevant. Because we argued about it. No, it's red. It's going to be red. I even faked one that looked like a Band-Aid with. I did in Photoshop with rivets and so on, that yes, he'd been wounded, he had a sticking plaster on. It was kind of subtle, and he's red arm. And every day on the set, I would say to him, no forgiveness, and he'd laugh and whatever. And I even had buttons, it's in the book. Did I say I'd written a book? Just checking. It's in the book. I have buttons made, no forgiveness, with the red arm and whatever. And if you dare to watch that film again, episode 7, at the end of the film, as we're waving goodbye to the Millennium Falcon, there is 3PO in front of all the rest of the crew, waving with a gold arm, because JJ finally gave him the present back of his gold arm. And he should be gold, shouldn't he? Yeah. I agree. Yeah, good. So good question. And welcome to you again. And yes, young, just stand up. Let's try this.
So when you shot the Geonosis battle scene in episode 2, what was that like where you had the head on one battle droid and the battle droid's head on yours?
Okay, do we remember that seminal scene in, what's it called? Return, what? It's too many films. Where I had one head replaced by another. It was painful. Slow surgery, obviously, you see the scars, the wrinkles, whatever. Of course, it was done digitally. We shot the scene with me dressed up normally, and then ILM just photoshopped a different head onto it because we were heavily into the world of digital. Do you remember that? It was the new kid on the block. Everything's got to be green screen and tedious and overwrought and everything. And I wasn't terribly, the idea was great, but at that point, if you watch it again, you will see that the digital effects are a little queasy making. There's a bit where 3PO falls off the high place. It's some of the worst digital stuff I've ever seen, and I felt really embarrassed for the character. But for the most part, you can do a lot with digital, and it's grown up. Most of the films you see have stuff that is digitally created using green screen or blue screen, but you can't tell because it's not in your face like it was back in the day. But always when you invent something new, people overdo it. Ian was talking about being at drama school. When I was at drama school, we had a theatre a bit bigger than this, and one day they installed a revolving stage, a centre of the stage that could go around. From then, every production had to have you suddenly ringing off for no apparent reason. You can overdo things. So it wasn't bad at all. Digital in the right place is great. Another question. Yes, sir. You could stand up. Let's see if we can hear you.
Outside of the major motion pictures, what is one of your oddest or most memorable experience as C-3PO in a public event or Sesame Street or anything where it wasn't in the movie?
Oh yeah, what was my most extraordinary experience? Not in the movie, and actually it was being in Sesame Street, because wow, what a bunch of good guys there in New York, the educational TV channel. It was magic, and every one of them, Frank Oz, Jim Henson, whatever, put their souls into the characters. And of course, one of the best things was being on the Muppet Show with Miss Piggy. Miss Piggy, you know, terrible attitude. And when, what was it called? Aboard the swine track. Yes.
Pigs in space.
What? Pigs in space. Yeah. Oh, it was fun. And didn't I tap dance on the? Yeah, I tap dance on the Muppet Show. It's in the book. And I watched it, you can see it on YouTube, and I wing around that set. And I remember we did it 6 times for different reasons, and I'm just amazed that I was kind of bouncing around. Couldn't do it now. Well, we could digitally, of course. And then, so I'm tap dancing on the Muppet Show, and of course, when 3PO tap dances on stage, there's this sort of weird plastic creaking going on. It's why we have to redo a lot of the sound on the film. So 3PO's in a scene. Sometimes the sound guy would, can you not move in this? Because you're making a noise. So if you wanted 3PO to stand totally like this whilst other people spoke, that's, I should be allowed to act. So I went, no, I can't. I've got to keep moving. So we replaced all the sound there. And what did they do to give me tap shoes on the Muppet Show? Yes, the sound guy came in later when we were dubbing it, and he had a tin tray and a teaspoon. And he went, and that's what you hear if you watch all that. But the Muppet Show lives in my memory. Sir, can you speak to me from there in the white sunglasses?
I will try.
You will try. There is no try. Sit down. Thanks. How do I remember this stuff? It's in my DNA, isn't it? I thought you were just smelling your armpit? What? I mean, it's like your hand was halfway up here. Okay. Young lady there with the spectacles. Please stand up. People want to see you. We want to see you.
What is your opinion of the holiday special?
These are good questions. The holidays. Anybody actually watch the holidays? You can see the whole thing on YouTube. It is there. I defy you to watch the whole thing. It is unspeakably awful. I was on it for 2 or 3 days, and it lives in my memory. It was the first and last thing that got away until Disney took over, got away from George Lucas. Nobody kind of watched what was happening, and it was horrible. And again, the digital effects you watch. At one point, there's a bunch of Wookiees who are going to Life Day, whatever, and they've just been planted digitally or photoshopped onto, Photoshop, it was whatever. And it is in my memory horror bank, actually. And people say it's bad enough to watch because it's so bad, but actually it's not. Do not watch. It should have a health warning. You still, man with the spectacles, did you have a question?
Yes, and I will do it this time.
What is your question?
In the book.
In the what?
In your book.
In my what? In my book.
Which is available in 6 languages.
Available in 6 languages. You're good. You're good. I take it back. We've never worked together before, have we? No, you're just good. In my book.
You speak of your favorite merchandise, the C-3PO tape dispenser. Do you?
Yes. In my book there are pictures, which is why all of you can get the book, because you can just follow pictures. But in there is some of my favourite merchandise, like the giant Pez dispenser, the gold Pez dispenser, which I love. But the big thing was the tape dispenser. There's a picture in the book of the tape dispenser, because I'm not sure if we can demonstrate here, but in the book you can see 3PO lying on his back, resting on a piece of furniture, with his knees in the air, slightly parted, and stuck between a roll of tape. sticky tape. It's the kind of thing, as I say, that should be in a gynecologist's office. Or, of course, the reverse one with paper around the back in a proctologist's office. But they have merchandised, as you know, the heck out of Star Wars. Back in the day, there was very little merchandise, and one or two people have brought some of the original stuff here, which is really good. But only Empire Strikes Back then began to overload, and a lot of you were wearing and have at home all sorts of plastic stuff that you love. Why do people want to take home a lightsaber? Why do you think? I have a theory. I'm good. Darling, put it down. Or are you pleased to see me? I remember you. Can't look at you. My theory is that you have such a good experience on screen that you want to bring it into your home. You want to relive a little aide-memoire, a souvenir to remember. And one of the most exciting things they invented was the lightsaber. So yes, people do have it. Why people want to have a stuffed Ewok at home is completely beside me. Although they say a good Ewok is a stuffed Ewok. Who said that? Oh, very good. Yeah, okay. People that. Okay, I changed my mind. I love the Ewoks. I love them. Another question. Yes, sir.
I was going to say, if you had...
You were going to say?
If there was any Star Wars character that you didn't have a chance to act alongside in a scene, who you would have?
Oh, who I wish I cut you off then. Was there anybody, a Star Wars character that I could have worked along with? No, I'm thinking that. I'd never got to, I would have liked to work with Peter Cushing because he was such an icon of weird horror movie stuff and a very serious actor that became quite niche in the horror world. What I did love was later on, when we came back to the prequels, and there was Sam Jackson and Ewan McGregor, and they're both saying, I can't believe I'm in a scene with C-3PO. And I'm thinking, I can't believe Sam Jackson and Ewan McGregor. So they were the loveliest people, and I'm thrilled that Ewan is coming back as whatever it is. Yeah, young lady there, would you stand up, sir, and then in your best projected voice, tell me your question. What was the most challenging? Are you listening to her? She's about 6 years old, and she comes out with gems like, what was the most challenging? And people are challenging. I love it when actors say, it's really challenging. I had that like, no, you've been being paid, darling. You're an actor. Just get on with it. Don't bump into the furniture and don't complain. Challenging, yes, it's challenging. One of the biggest challenges was, if I think about it, I kind of mentioned it earlier, in the 6 months it took to make the costume, and I had the script, which changed, day by day, grew and got better and so on. And all this conversation between 3PO and R2-D2, back and forth. And I would read this, and it said R2 beeps a reply, or he blats a response, or whatever. And I would read this, and it never occurred to anybody, believe it or not, until day one of shooting, that and I'm there, and the first thing with R2, actually was no dialogue, it didn't say anything. But the second day, I'm out doing stuff, and they said, oh no, R2 doesn't make any noise. What? I'm acting on my own with this thing. So, where are you going? Well, what makes you think there are settlements over there? but that is much too rocky. Go that way, you'll be malfunctioning, etc. I went crazy. I mean, I'm not hearing voices in my head. I mean, I was crazy in a different way. But I very quickly cottoned on to the fact that I had to imagine in my head what it was saying. And when I saw the finished film, and Ben Burt had put in all those twiddly bits and things, it was like, and you believe that was happening on the set? No, it wasn't. I had to learn all the words. Because normally if you have a conversation, what you say, not in your case obviously, but it encourages me to respond, it helps me on the way. So that was the most challenging part, okay? What was your question? You see, I'm kind, I humiliate, but then I give.
Do it all again and pick any Star Wars character, would you still be C-3PO?
If I could do it all again, would I be C3? Would I still be C-3PO? Oh God! I did a job the other day in. I'm not going to tell them what it's about. I did a job in a mocap suit. So there I am doing something, and I can see I'm wearing a motion capture suit, which is a black suit with dots or Velcro on it, colored Velcro, and the computer picks up that idea and puts it through a lot of processing, and on a screen I can see 3PO a nanosecond after I go 3PO as me in a suit. I can see 3PO doing it. I kept moving away. No, heads down camera. It's really good. I would love to be 3PO permanently in a motion capture suit, because I could really be the character then. Because I don't need the suit to be C-3PO. When I'm dubbing stuff in a radio studio, sound studio, so many times visitors or the engineer said, I can see the suit. You're really C-3PO, aren't you? And I go, well, today perhaps, but not always. I have days off. But that's the honest answer. Yes, young man, just come to the front, because then you can be on television. Come here. Do not fall off the step. Good, you're very good at that. What's your name?
Luke.
Children and dogs, they say. Children and dogs. Hello, Luke. I am C-3PO. Human cyborg relations. You say something, Luke. You have to.
Hi.
That's why you have script writers. Luke, what is your question? Thank you for coming in costume, by the way. Very. What was your problem, huh? Next time, it's kind of fun for everybody to come in costume. Obviously not in my case. Do you think next time this happens, come in costume as your favorite character? Okay, Luke.
What was your viewpoint on Star Wars before it hit theaters and you were working on it?
Whoa. Again. Listen and learn. What was my viewpoint on Star Wars? Well, we shot it in 1976. I met George in 1975. So in 1976, we spent the first part of the year making it physically. Then they took everything back to California and did the digital and the sound. And it came out, as you know, some of you, in 1977. Well, we're on the set shooting this stuff, and I'm saying things like, well, give me a line, what would 3PO said back in then? R2-D2, just you reconsider playing what's inside your rusty image. Yeah? No, I don't think he likes you at all. No, I don't like you either. You could picture the garage scene, couldn't you, on Tatooine? Like midnight, Mark's just Luke, not you. Luke has gone up to have new milk. Where did that come from? What was your question? Oh my God. And all of us on set, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, would be saying our lines, which we had learnt. And we're going, well, you know what Harrison said about it. We said the lines properly because we were proper actors and we'd been signed to be proper actors and be paid and everything. But we were all kind of wincing at what we were saying. You couldn't see I was wincing because I was behind a mask, okay? But we all thought it was not very good. And the British crew, made in England, you don't know that, Star Wars was made in England. The British crew are going, what on earth is this about? And Alec Guinness is going, well, George Lucas is a very nice young man, but I have no idea. That's a really bad impression. Let me just think. Obi-Wan Kenobi. I have no idea what this film is about. Yes. He didn't know. None of us knew what it was about. The only person who believed in it, seriously, was George Lucas. And by then he'd already taken his script around every studio in Hollywood to say, will you make my film? And they go, no. Finally he found Fox Studios, 20th Century Fox, who would make it. And George just kept on and on going forward. There were arguments. The lighting, the man who does the lighting makes the thing look like a film, just thought it was rubbish. They had big arguments, how to light it and everything. Everybody disagreed. The actors all got on well, and we were paid to say this rubbish. And we said the rubbish. And some of us got rubbish pay. Other people, not so much. And then it came out, and like, why were we wrong? As you know, George was right all the time. So huge praise to George, because without him, none of us would be here, and you would not have been called Luke. Our time, very shortly, will be even shorter. You're meant to go, ah. With more feeling. So, what was your question again? I haven't forgotten. Curiously, it did take me back to when people could ask me questions. The first questions would be, was it hard on the costume? Did you make a lot of money out of the movie? How'd you go to the bathroom in the toilet? People used to ask me, and because apparently with space astronauts, it's the first question they get asked: how to go to the bathroom in zero gravity. Apparently it is quite difficult. But when people could ask me questions, you know, you read things in the paper and you believe them. People, I've been interviewed by some, you tell them something, they ignore it, they write something else. But one of my favorites was, how do you get in the costume? Because you know, you look a little tall. Oh, you played the other one. Oh, I see. I'm serious. Okay, but seriously, I mentioned it earlier. I'm genuinely surprised from a few years back now when people have come up to me at an event like this and said how important Star Wars is, and specifically how important that character, that gold character, that nervous, caring, heart-loving character, how much it's meant to them. Maybe they have social issues somewhere on the spectrum. Maybe they are living in terrifying circumstances, like the Iraq War, for instance. And I'm quite serious. The people have come and said, Star Wars, particularly 3PO, is a refuge from fighting, from being scared, frightened. Because they're soldiers, they're not allowed to be frightened. Imagine and everything. And I loved it when a little boy, well, it was a man who said, as a little boy, he had watched Star Wars from behind the sofa in the sitting room because he could duck behind it if a scary bit happened. I think we all did that at one point in our lives. And then he realized that the character on screen, the gold character, was scared too, and he was there. And suddenly it was okay to be scared, to not man up, to not be a grown-up, be grown-up, stop being scared. No, if you're scared, be scared. Being scared is a good thing. It's called, a safety device. It protects us. But somehow 3PO had stopped this young kid being ashamed of being afraid. And I felt really good about that. The Star Wars can deliver something more than a stuffed Ewok, that it can give a bit of heart to the galaxy. And I'm going to remind you that without you, there would have been one film only. But because of you, there have now been, for better or not so better, there have been 9 of the movies. And two. And thank you for being a whole part of it. And I'll see you again. Thank you.